East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast. What's happening? What is going on here?
Hell yeah. I like to start Mondays off like this.
Hey, is it really a Monday if there isn't some weird stuff?
It wasn't me. Hey.
So it's funny. It is you. It shows your locations with red exclamation points.
Wow.
So
That's
who knows?
Awesome. Pat's just out there floating around,
right?
And maybe he'll land.
I got check marks on my side, so I don't know.
You do now. Yeah.
It just takes a minute.
Well, welcome to Monday morning. How are you guys doing today?
Good,
I'm
man.
doing all right. You go, Jay. You go. Obviously, I'm lagging.
No. Hey, I just wanted to say it's been a crazy weekend. I told you, Bo, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was dealing with that truck, and I didn't realize Chevy Colorados really hold their value because I had a 2018. That's when I went up there and I actually wound up selling it for her, and it had 100,000 miles on it. It had a couple of little dings here and there, and they still gave me $12,500 for that damn thing.
Yeah, it is actually a pretty sought after little truck. As long as you don't have that 5-cylinder that was in it, because that thing was a huge piece of crap. But
this was it was a 6-cylinder mid-level trim, not the highest.
Honestly, as long as you didn't have the 5-cylinder, it was fine. Whether it was the 4-cylinder, the V6, didn't matter. The 5-cylinder was a problem. But
I didn't know they made a 5-cylinder.
Yeah, the first few years of it was an inline 5, and the valve seats would beat themselves up, and it'd end up with misfires, and you'd have to replace the head.
Yeah. Okay.
Somebody that worked for General Motors at the time. I replaced a lot of those.
Yeah. And again, you were saying about Dodge. Dodge is another one that, because they have all those gaskets on it, I found out those things got a lot of leaks. I think I was telling you about that. It had like 2 or 3 different leaks. I was like, nah, I'm just going to go back to Chevy. I think I've never had a problem with Ford. I don't think too much. I've never had really a problem with Chevy too much. But
so Fords are usually electrical.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the problems that you run into with Fords. Dodges typically are transmission. I haven't really I'm a Dodge Ram guy. I love the Rams. That being said, I never had an issue with anything like those leaks from the gaskets or anything like that. That wasn't the problem in certain engines. Now, I haven't done the brand new engines once they went solely Ram. Yeah, I haven't gotten one of those. It was always Dodge Rams. You know what I mean? So when I was getting them now.
Well, I will tell you, Pags, the biggest problem I've had so far, the most expensive part I've had so far, is those computer updates. I have spent probably $2,000 just in computer updates, and that was a 2019 Ram, and I've spent $2,000 in that, and I spent I was gonna have to spend $4,000 to get the leaks done on those gaskets. So I don't know. To me, I've spent way too much money in that vehicle for it, and I've always done my maintenance. I've always hit all my benchmarks, and I shouldn't have that issue. But maybe I had a lemon. Sometimes that happens, I guess. I don't know.
You did not. So that's where I started my automotive dealership career, was Dodge. There was a dealership, Dodge Bellevue, and if you had the 90s version of the Ram where it still had the 360 in it, that thing was an oil leaking machine, because they had 2-piece intakes, and the lower plate of the intake was steel and the rest of the intake was aluminum. Those heat and expand and contract at different temperatures, and so that little fiber gasket that's in there would fail all the time, and you'd be ingesting oil all the time. And so we did intakes on those constantly. The biggest thing with Dodge is the stuff is made really cheap. So you end up with, obviously there's mechanical issues. Transmissions are a big thing. They actually had a stretch there where the rear differential would explode, which is actually It was actually kind of cool.
Unless you're driving it.
It was exciting if you were driving it. The pinion shaft would actually snap in half. In fact, that some of the early Rams had an issue. There was even a recall for it. For the hood would just spontaneously open and smash the windshield. So Dodge had some issues.
Man, I mean, could you imagine going on?
Thank God I never had that problem. I had a Cummins though. I had a Cummins diesel.
It was all the same truck. So the engine was good, but the actual truck they put around it was suspect. They also had a huge issue with water leaks.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
and seating the oil filters.
Yeah.
For some reason, the oil filters on those, that's what wound up happening. I remember mother of my kids was driving my truck and the oil filter fell off.
Yeah.
And it was a Mopar part. So
Yeah.
it was like a big deal. And I'm like, it wound up seizing the engine. So I wound up getting a new engine. So we get the new engine, and now it's like, well, now it's got a brand new engine in this nice, it was not like a 2500, so but it didn't have the extended wheelbase. It wasn't like the 3500 but it was like an 8-foot bed and stuff like that. Cab 8-foot bed, which was great. It was a great truck with the ladder rack and everything. And I remember trading that in for a minivan.
Ooh, sexy. So Jeremy, although this is true, this was not actually the issue with a lot of those Rams. Some of those, the threaded part that your filter went onto was mismachined, and so it actually blow the filter off.
That is nuts.
So,
I just thought it was interesting that I had to do that many updates. I've had Chevy, I've had Ford, newer models, right? And I've never, even my dad has had, Fords and Chevys, all throughout the 2000s. And he never had to do any of those updates. And I just thought it was so interesting that with Dodge, I had to do 2 different updates. And those things are not cheap.
So software updates come out all the time. So, I mean, they're available. Some of them go down as recalls. They actually send stuff out to you and tell you to come in. And some of them go down as a TSB, which is a technical service bulletin. And so those will only get addressed if you bring it in for a problem and they've seen enough of it that they have a bulletin for it. But there's not a failure rate that requires them to have a recall.
Got you.
So,
yeah, because if you didn't have that update, the whole damn truck would just shut down.
So there are some pretty major failures where you'll go into a limp mode and you'll basically only have second gear, and it's designed to be able to get you off the road without damaging the car.
Right.
So that's really what it is. And in school again, it's funny. So those of you watching probably don't know. I spent a lot of my career in automotive. I owned an automotive shop. And I was a 3-time master technician. So I was a GM master, a Cadillac master, and an ASC master.
Nice. I feel like you're like a legit guy of all trades. Because I know you do you do AC work, you do all kinds of stuff.
So that was a really easy transition because you have HVAC systems in a car.
Well,
it's the exact same concept. In fact, going from automotive to HVAC was very easy because not only did that end of it make sense, but you went from working on engines that have, 1,000th of an inch tolerance to a system that, a 1/16th of an inch is fine.
Right.
All of a sudden that tolerance, you're like, oh, that's cute. So, yeah.
Well, so then let me ask this question, Mr. Mechanics. I have a car that only likes to put heat out on one side.
Yep. Mode door actuator. So you have little tiny motorized actuators in the dash that control heat and cool, right? I assume you have AC. And what
it doesn't work right now. I think I need a Freon charge, but that's beside the point.
but the doors operate in the same way. And so basically when the motor dies, it will be frozen in one direction. And so depending on where your heat settings are can make it so that you either just don't get air, depending on where the door froze, or it'll be the wrong temperature.
Right. Well, so what happens is that when I turn the heat on the passenger side, it freezes. And on the driver's side, it's heat. So I get all the heat, which is great. At least that's okay for me while I'm driving, but
Sure.
my passengers hate it.
Yeah.
So you're getting heat and you're sweating and they're freezing and cold.
And I'm the one that's usually the one that don't want the heat in the first place. So it's
yeah. So in that scenario, it's either going to be a mode. What year car are we talking about?
It's a 12 Ford Explorer.
Oh, 12. Okay. So yeah, it'll be an electronic part. You'll have to disassemble like half the dash to get there. But
yeah, you know what? I ain't doing none of that.
Yeah. So if it was older, if it was a little like a decade older, it might have still been vacuum driven.
That means you'd have to spend a buttload of money and labor just to get that thing fixed. For like
correct.
a $2 part.
Nah, it'll be about an $80 part. Yeah. But that being said, there would probably be like 3 or 4 hours worth of labor to get to it.
The other problem I run into is that the onboard computer was a touch screen and it doesn't work anymore. You can't touch it to do anything. So like the heated seats, all part of the touch screen. Can't do nothing with the heated seats anymore. Heated seats are non-existent because can't touch the screen and do anything with it. Everything you got to do is all got to be on now the remote controls on the actual
steering wheel.
Yeah. It sucks. And I can't ever turn on the heated seats.
That's probably about $800 fix.
That's $2,000.
Yeah.
$2,000 to fix that thing.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
I ain't fixing that either. You know what's happening? This car's going to disappear. Poof.
Yep. Because it ain't a road and light it on fire.
The other thing that Ford did that was friggin' great on these cars was when you have to remove the windshield, you get a crack in the windshield's got to get removed. They have these pieces that come off on the sides. Well, the problem is that they don't ever go back on the right way because there's these little itty bitty friggin' things that you got to put them on to, and they don't clip on, so they fly off. And now I haven't had them for like the last 2 years because they flew off on both sides.
This shit's just gonna be laying on the freeway somewhere in the wind.
I just like that this thing in my mind looks like the most beat up hoopty at this point.
Oh my God! It is the song piece of shit car. Like it didn't have a gas cap because it's one of those vacuum sealed gas caps. You just close the door. So, but like literally, I could probably put a sock in there and make it look like that too. It's like kind of funny that way. You know what I mean?
In the seat.
Why do I feel like duct tape is your best friend?
That is awesome.
You know what? As funny as you say that, because I used to get leaks that came in. That's why the onboard computer stopped working. It would leak through the lights, the front lights. It would come out and overflow because these little friggin' tubes that go down get clogged up. And then the water backs up, and when the water backs up enough, it runs over top, and then it starts to come out where the lights are, right onto the onboard computer.
Yeah,
and then
that means you have a sunroof.
I do. So now what I do, I put duct tape over all the seams of the sunroof so that it doesn't leak anymore.
This is such a classy looking car in my head.
I was just thinking the same thing. I'm like, man.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I am not embarrassed to drive around in my car. It's just like it gets me from point A to point B.
Hey, it keeps running. There you go.
And I'm one of those guys that doesn't get his oil changed for like 10,000 miles.
Oh,
like,
so you're just trying to kill this car.
Oh man.
Well, you know what? I'm a firm believer that it's never 3,000 miles. I know that it trains you to do it every 3,000, but realistically, these engines are meant to go on 5 to 7,500 miles, 10,000 miles on the oil.
So the thing is when you're talking about conventional oil, right? Which those were paraffin based. The oil did break down, right? 3,000 miles was a good rule of thumb. When you're getting into synthetic blends, full synthetics, they can make it mileage wise for sure. The problem is you still end up with all those contaminants. So although the oil doesn't necessarily break down, you still end up with carbon deposits and debris in the oil, and the filter will filter out some of that. But over time, if the filter gets too clogged, there's just a bypass valve, and then you're just throwing dirty oil through the engine, and that's where you start running, the bearings, the crank, and the cam stuff. That's where you start doing damage to those things. So although the oil technically doesn't break down, you shouldn't wait that long.
Well, I also have it set so that I put the magnets down so that I'm not getting the metal debris. Like
Sure.
the oil may break down, but it's not, the metal debris connects on the magnets.
Yeah.
So instead of that, so it helps in that regard. But yeah, I'm about to get an oil change,
but not carbon.
Well, you know, like the Tacoma. When I bought the Tacoma, the guy goes, "Look, you only got to bring this thing in here every 10,000 miles for the oil change." But they have you other little benchmarks along the way. You got like 5,000 for fluids and rotation of time. But they say on the oil changes, do it every 10,000 miles. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So when there's the included stuff, that's usually, they're going to go on whatever the required number is. So I always did mine early because oil.
Well, when you had a shop, it makes it easier.
Well, and oil's a lot cheaper than replacing hard parts.
Hell yeah, it is.
So
there's that, right? Jeez.
So anyway, weird start to a sports show, but
I think there's somebody out there that needed to hear that conversation. That maybe they're like, that's some good points of view there. So maybe we help people before we get to the sports. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. Anything's possible.
So did you guys see the text message I sent you guys?
About the dunk contest?
Yes.
Yes. Obviously, everything about the All-Star weekend, really, for the NBA is trash. So
yeah,
we can just put it there to start. But yeah, I mean, the fact that was the winning dunk, obviously I didn't have time to put anything together for it, but that's terrible. Like that was warm-up dunks back in the day.
Yeah.
Like that was people trying to figure out their timing before the competition started.
Yeah, like I feel like that they should start to bring it like a circus atmosphere. Like let's do real dunks where you're jumping over fire. You know what I mean? To do that, like I think like use trampolines, do all the weirdo stuff. You know what I mean? Like, let's do it that way instead of like, we're just, these guys don't do this. They don't practice this stuff anymore. It's not as cool as it was back in the 80s and then 90s and stuff like that. It's, that's why Michael Jordan stopped doing it. Back in the day, he's just like, yeah, I've already won this contest. I don't need to do any more. You know what? I'm not an artist on how I dunk the ball. I just win championships. You know what I mean? Like that's what I do. So I don't know. I just felt like it was, and then I saw some like videos of Mac McClung doing some dunks, and it's like, wow, that's cool. Wow, that's cool. Why wasn't he in it this year? You know what I mean? It's like, he's the one that saves the whole dunk contest.
It sounded like he opted out of it this time.
Yeah, because he's not getting enough money.
Well, and I mean, because he's also not really getting any play time in the NBA. He's just like, and he's already won it.
Right.
6'2". 6'2", and he scores maybe when he gets out there and he plays, he scores maybe 2 points a game. And like I think he's averaging less than 2 points a game. So listen, I get it. There's a reason why he's a G League player. You know what I mean? Because the G League is where he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But he knows how to dunk a ball.
He does.
Did you see the one where the guy fell down? It looked like he knocked himself out.
So he didn't hit his head on the backboard. The backboard stuffed the ball, and that's how he swung down. But then his head like rebounded off the floor.
Yeah.
That looked rough.
Because that looked
First
real
glance,
rough.
they were thinking he hit his head on the backboard, but it was actually the ball just hit the side, and that's what stuffed him down. And then, he led into the ground on his back and mashed his head on the floor. So, that was a pretty rough go of it.
Yeah,
then,
which is
then there was the
why
other one
they
where
should
Knight
just
did
stop this whole thing. They should stop it,
Yeah.
unless or that, like I said, go the other way. Start getting rings of fire, and like trampolines and stuff. Start to do weirdo stuff like that. That would be kind of cool. But now you got these guys that would have to practice that stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's.
I didn't see injuries happen when they start doing that. Somebody's gonna hit the trampoline wrong. They're gonna tear an ACL.
And listen, not my problem. Not my problem.
Not mine either.
You want to have a dunk contest, you got to have it like that then, because I tell you what, nobody, like, why would anybody have watched that stuff? The fact that some of these people were getting like, oh, it's a 47 dunk. What? That was like that was the way I could dunk the ball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the other guy who does some kind of like reach around dunk like this, and then he dances. I'm like, what is that all about? Dude, it's not like you did like some kind of behind the back or through the legs or something crazy or 360 dunk. You just reach your hand back and then you're gonna dance like you did something. Like I don't.
See, the problem is he is dancing like he did something because compared to the other guys, he did.
I guess true.
Right? Like the first dunk was literally just a normal dunk. Like, dude just ran up and dunked the ball, and you're just like, oh, man.
Okay.
We just set the bar really, really low.
I mean, let's be honest. The days of Vince Carter with the elbow hanging in the rim, those days are long gone from what I can see. It's like it's long gone.
I mean, it's been gone for a long time. But, I mean, at this point, they've destroyed the All-Star game so much, and the whole weekend, really, over the last decade that, I mean – I feel like you either need to really make an effort to fix it or just squash it. Obviously they had the, the 3 different teams. They had 2 U.S. teams and a world team. And, it was just weird. It was weird to watch. I wouldn't have watched it outside of having to be able to talk about it on shows like this. But
I didn't watch it.
Kyrie, in the second game went off. He had 3/4 of the team's points. I mean, he couldn't miss a 3-point shot. And then you get into the final, and
well, why don't they do like what he's saying? Why don't they do more? Like I think if they did the skills challenges, okay, that would be interesting to see more skills challenges type competitions. Okay, I can see that.
Well, they still had the 3-point competition, and I mean they still had skills competitions, but it's boring. Like
it is.
I think that they should have now like an elaborate game of horse. You know what I mean? Where it's like, hey, we're going to rotate around, and that's like, it's like horse. Like we're going to play horse. And like the 3-point competition, I still like that. I think they should also have a free throw competition. The problem is that would take forever because ultimately you go until you miss. You know what I mean? And some of these guys could go 100 free throws without missing.
Yeah.
So but that would be kind of cool. You know what I mean? Like, and you could have, hey, we're going to have the free throw competition over on this side. So obviously this basket's going to be utilized. So the other stuff is happening on that side of the court.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just,
or like Jeremy says, an obstacle course. I don't know. I don't know how you fix this thing. It's been, all of the All-Star games have just been sliding, except baseball. Baseball, you still have to kind of play baseball. But all the rest of them, I mean, even when it came to hockey, they had to switch it over to, a different format. And, that the way they do it now is way better. Obviously it's not happening this year because of the Olympics, but I like the way hockey switched it up to try and, make it interesting again. But yeah, I mean, footballs is, you might as well cancel it at this point. You only had 1.9 million viewers anyway. And the All-Star game, who cares? I like that they at least tried to shift it away from what it was after they put up over 400 points last year.
Do you think maybe it's because, and I think it really in all the sports, maybe not so much as baseball as the other two, definitely football and basketball for sure. I feel like the competitive spirit or the competitive fire is gone. It's more about the entertainment value, like look at me, look what I can do after it, but not what I'm actually doing in it. And I feel like the competitive fire for me is what's gone.
Well, you don't make any money in it anymore. So it used to be that these guys were making like maybe a couple $100,000 a year, and that 50K to win meant something. Now you get 100K to win. It's actually like 90 something, but these guys are making $10 million a year. So that's a rounding error for them. So, I mean, there's no real incentive. You're not going anywhere cool for it anymore. There's no money in it. When it comes to basketball, these guys are making insane money. And, so yeah, there isn't incentive. They don't care.
Right.
And I think that they could also do like the 1-on-1, 2-on-2, and 3-on-3. Like you could kind of do it that way too, where instead of having 5-on-5, and like they don't even do it up to that. Like then now it's like to a point, right? Like it's like, okay, the first 1 to 50 wins. Is that how that works? Is that, I don't even know. I didn't watch.
What's that?
The games now, the way that they play these games.
It's timed. It's timed.
So it was like, so that they don't have 198 to 194 games anymore.
So they have 3 teams. They have the 2 USA teams and a world team. So they have the Stars, the Stripes, and the world team. And they play it's basically a mini game. And so then, they play each other kind of a, soccer style. And then they go through and, have a championship. So it was the Stars versus the Stripes. And, which was basically like the old Stars versus the young Stars. And the old Stars got smoked.
Yeah,
it was not particularly close.
Yeah, because if they're not making 3-pointers, because the young stars could just drive. That's what I would think. They're just letting them drive in, and you're trying to hit a 3-pointer.
And Cam, who is we that we care about the All-Star game? Like I watched it, but I can't say that I care about it.
I didn't get to watch it. I was on the road, but how did the world fare against? I mean, like who ultimately took it?
What?
The Star.
I know the Stars beat the Stripes. I think it was.
Yeah. So the Stars won, which is the young NBA Stars.
Right, but they didn't play the world. They haven't played.
Were you part of this conversation?
No,
I just
again,
they all played each other.
No. You said they all played each other, but you didn't.
They had round robin, and then after the round robin, they had a championship.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is I didn't hear who made the championship.
The Stars versus the Stripes. It was both U.S. teams.
Okay.
There was only 3 teams.
Yeah, I guess. But like I said, I didn't see it, so all I saw was Stars and Stripes. I didn't hear anything about the world, so I didn't know. Okay, I got you. No, I saw the Stars and Stripes game. I just didn't see the world, so I didn't see how they did.
Yeah, so they lost both of them. The first one was like a last second shot, and then they lost again right at the end for both of them. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I guess we lost. When is it? When is the draft? Is the draft coming up pretty? Is that after the finals? Is that when the draft usually goes down?
Well, the draft is
it's
usually
after the season. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what month that was, but okay.
Yeah, you don't draft in the middle of the year.
No,
it's usually like right afterwards too. Like it's like July.
Yeah.
Yeah, the WNBA draft happens right after March Madness.
Got you.
So like it goes from the national championship game. You have 2 weeks. It's the draft, and then you have 2 more weeks, and the WNBA season starts.
Yeah, I think that it's looking to me like the Thunder have a really good shot at repeating. Do you think Do you think that Detroit can compete with them in the East?
I don't know. The Thunder are running hot and cold right now. Yeah. Like they have a good team, but like they lose some weirdo games. And I'm not exactly sure. Like, is it like, hey, we just don't care? Like, we're deciding not to play in these games specific, and that's why we're losing them.
Like maybe they're bored, I guess, maybe of it.
I mean, it just
If that's accurate, that would be wild. If the NBA draft was more watched than the finals,
That would be crazy.
that would be rough. Especially when you figure the draft only has like 6 people in it that you even care about.
But I know SGA's been hurt, so I know he hasn't been in the lineup for at least a couple of games. I know when the Rockets beat him, SGA was on the sideline in street clothes.
and I think the Pistons are regular season champs. I don't think that they actually do well in the playoffs. I think that they will, they'll win like the small series, but when they get up into the big series against a team like the Celtics or even the Knicks, like I feel like that the Knicks are going to be like a team to reckon with because those guys have played with each other. Like the Villanova guys are like they've played with each other and they've done these tournament style games and they're waiting for the playoffs. Like there's certain teams that are just waiting for the playoffs. And I think the Knicks are one of them. I think the Pistons have a good team. I just don't think that they're going to be strong enough to beat the Celtics or the Knicks, or maybe even
they
Cleveland.
actually beat the Knicks. There was a lot of controversy around that Knicks Pistons series last year in terms of fouls and things like that. I think the Pistons. I think you're right about the Celtics. I think the Celtics are going to be the ones that push the Pistons more than the Knicks.
It could be. I mean, listen, I don't follow basketball anywhere near as much. Like I'll start doing it a little bit more now, but I mean, right now we have the Olympics, and I tell you, curling is a thing. I tell you, watching that Canada Sweden game. I mean, you guys all saw this now at this point, where Sweden said that Canada cheated, and they're telling each other to go F off, and it's
by rule they weren't wrong.
No, they were not.
Not allowed to double touch the rock. And then the women's team went and did it the next day. Canada also.
Oh, Canada.
So speaking of Canada, that was also the men's hockey, right? There were 3 different fights in the first 9 seconds of that game.
Against France, right?
No, it was U.S. versus Canada.
Oh, God. Was that yesterday?
Yeah.
I missed it.
There was literally 3 fights in the first 9 seconds of that game.
Well, and they get kicked out. They that's it when they fight. It's no like the Olympics is much different. You could game misconducts. So
so they don't just go to the penalty box and then come back?
Yeah, it's a lot different. Who was the ones that I you know what, I didn't even see that game, and I was watching Canada and France, and Canada was running the score up on France 10-2. You know, and then the French were getting angry. But
yeah, Joe, I heard Italy was caught putting olive oil on the bottom of their skis to go farther. So I don't know. There might be some controversy with Italy. A little bit of controversy.
I'm wrong with you, Jay.
I'll tell you what, though, that one figure skater, Ilham or Milanen, or how do you say that guy's name for the U.S.? I know he fell a couple of times, but I was watching his routine, and he is a really good athlete. Like, I mean, some of the stuff he was doing, I was like, how is that even possible? Like, when he did the flip, I was like, oh, hell no. And you land on your skates? What? It was impressive. I was impressed. I know he fell a couple of times, but I was really impressed with him.
Hold on. The U.S. didn't play Canada.
They played Denmark.
Oh, is that what it was? I thought it
it's
was
okay, bro. I know you haven't been here very often, so
I thought it was the U.S. game.
I know.
Yeah,
bro.
no, it's like because they're showing how Canada's 10-2 rout of France because they were destroying France and running up the score, and then there was fights that started to happen, and that's not common, you know. But yeah,
she's saying Germany, but I thought yesterday was Denmark. I thought, as I know, the U.S. played Denmark. I thought,
The U.S. played Denmark. They won 6-3 because
yeah.
that was actually a pretty close game. And then all of a sudden they started scoring. And once they started
Literally
scoring, it was speeding up.
From ESPN, February 15th, 3 fights break out in the first 9 seconds between U.S. and Canada.
Well,
Yeah.
somebody's lying here. We need to get to the bottom of this.
I mean,
I know that says that the U.S. played Germany and won 5-1, and they went 3-0-0-0, so they won their games. So ESPN is wrong. Very
Because
wrong.
I remember looking at the scores yesterday, and I specifically saw U.S. and Denmark. And matter of fact, they even said like Denmark had got them up like 2-1, and then the U.S. came back and beat them. That's what I remember yesterday.
That's ESPN's headline. And
that's
got
odd.
video. They got video. So
that's interesting. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know what the hell was.
Yeah, who says there's no fighting in hockey? This was against France, though. They did fight against France because Tom Wilson got into a fight. It says Drew Doughty. It was.
You know why? Because I just said 2025, and you know what year it is? It is 26. So it was.
Oh yeah, last year that happened.
Hold on.
That was the
Bo,
comparison.
do you remember when you just gave me a hard time out? You felt like I wasn't.
Anyway, Jay had to leave.
But I just want to say, maybe I'm not the only one here. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, it's been a morning already.
It's Monday.
But yeah, that absolutely happened last year. I remember that because both Kachucks got into a fight. It was like that was the World Cup, and they were trying to set, like U.S. came out to play.
Yeah. Now that I do remember that because we talked about it a lot last year. So yeah. I didn't even think about it because I don't write. I don't write dates down a whole lot anymore. So that's funny. That is funny. So yeah, we'll see if that happens again.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. Right now, the U.S. is still undefeated. They haven't lost.
The U.S. is undefeated. Canada is undefeated.
Okay.
In hockey, they have not played each other yet, and they will not play each other until the gold medal round.
And correct me if I'm wrong. The women's also undefeated as well? Because I know they were doing.
Women are undefeated and have beaten Canada.
Correct.
Okay. Man, U.S. is killing them in hockey right now.
Yeah. The women's, it's because they were in the same group on the women's side.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it's still but I tell you, everybody with that whole curling thing is a big deal. It's a big deal over there. They're fighting.
Who would have ever thought a sport like curling could be so spicy?
And it's the Canadians.
Yes, not the Americans. In fact, that's how the headline was written. Did the U.S. buy Canada already? Is how the headline read.
Man.
51st state, baby. Let's go.
It's
how many tax dollars that's going to put back in the economy when they become a 51st state? We're going to have money all over the place. It's going to be crazy.
You realize that's not how that works at all, right?
I know it's not how it works. Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly, Donna. They played on the 10th. Exactly. Yeah. And the women's have been absolutely just destroying everybody. Like they've been putting up 5 goals a game, which has been amazing.
I'm waiting for the bobsledding to start. When I know isn't that supposed to start up here pretty soon? The bobsled side.
It already did.
Okay, I thought they were okay. How is the U.S. doing in that, or how is even really Jamaica? I'm always curious to watch the Jamaican team. I don't know if they've gone yet or not, but no, I like cool runnings, And
yeah, I know where you were going with that. So the U.S. team actually had a mishap. They one of the guys tripped in the 4-person, and the 3 guys in the back all fell down. The guy driving didn't even know, and so he had to slide back in the sled to get it to stop because the guy in the back is who uses the brakes. He didn't know that the rest of the crew weren't able to jump in, so the other 3 guys all fell down at the top of the run, and he did the whole run by himself and had to slide back just to get the thing to stop. But
that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I guess
I
they
wonder what
didn't
kind
win.
of shit. I guess they have spikes. I'm assuming the guy that's doing the run. Do they have like? I guess they have spikes in their shoes, right? Is that how they get the traction or whatever? Or
Yeah, I don't know exactly what their footwear is, but I mean, obviously they can run without sliding. It was just one of them tripped, and then they kind of took each other out.
Yeah, that's what happens. Like if one falls, kind of they all fall, and you can't. Like if the number 2 guy doesn't jump in, the number 3 guy who's on the other side of the toboggan also can't jump in, and then number 4 definitely doesn't jump. So it's like
Oh,
when
they
you
all
have
fell
a problem.
They actually all like went down, were sliding down the ice. So it was actually kind of funny to watch. But yeah, the guy up front had no clue that that run had gone awry. That wasn't in any of the medal rounds or anything. That was one of the early runs. So I don't know how it went from there. But
okay, so it's for the U.S. Are they still able to get the gold if they can correct it, or does that put them out of contention?
So that I don't know. I didn't look at what the standings were for that.
Yeah, I can't answer that question either. I think typically they have 3 runs and they take the best time of the runs. I don't know that it's a collaborative time. Because if that's the case, then they're definitely out. There ain't no chance that they're going to be able to do that. But
Yeah, no, I think it's by your best run. But
so yeah, I think that they get at least they get 2. I think they get 2. I know that in the skeleton and the luge, they get 2 runs to try to get their best time. So we'll see. But as of right now, Norway is still leading.
Yeah, they are.
They have 27 medals, 12 golds,
nice.
followed by Italy with 22 medals. The host nation, it's got 8 gold medals, 22 in total. And then in 3rd place, tied for 3rd place, is both USA and Japan with 17. And USA's got 5 gold. Just an honorable mention to the Netherlands, who have 6 gold medals. They are in 3rd place in gold medals specific.
Huh. Interesting.
So yeah. So the Netherlands and Norway, they're the ones that win all these biathlons and the cross-country skiings and the things like that. So there's a lot of that stuff that's happening there. And they are not only winning the gold, but they're also winning the gold and the silver. You know what I mean? So that's why they have so much, there's so much ahead in that, coin count, in the medal count.
Huh. Okay.
Italy's doing a lot with the skiing. And I tell you, I don't know what, it's kind of funny to me. Great Britain is great at the luge and the skeletons. Like, I'm not sure why they would be so great at that. But Great Britain has got 3 gold medals. All of them, I think, are skeleton. That's it. They're the only medals they got.
Huh.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
So
yeah, I was trying to find where they were ranking in the bobsled, but I can't find anything on it. It just tells you the dates.
Yeah, that's because they haven't finished yet.
Yeah,
And then,
it's weird though that they don't tell you I guess their times or any kind of information on it. At least I can't find it. Maybe it's
so they have some times for the 2-man, but not the 4.
gotcha.
So that means that was just probably a test run or something that they fell down on.
Man, I hope so. That way I'd hate to see them be out because of that. That would suck.
Yeah, well, I mean, and like Pag said, I do believe they get more than one run anyway. So, even if you messed one, I mean, you better be on it the next one though.
Yeah, you can't mess that one up. And how about that figure skater? He was supposed to win gold, no thoughts, problem about it, bang, done. He was the winner, and oops, and then oops. Just, and you could tell, like, I watched that skate because now it's like, okay, now I got to see what happened in this train wreck. You know what I mean? Well, how did he go from supposed to win gold to,
So that was the guy I was talking about a second ago. And he said basically, because he's 21 years old, he said the pressure of the moment got to him and he basically mentally just messed up. And so that's what led to those two falls I was talking about earlier. Now he did get gold for the U.S. as a whole thing, but he messed up. I think the individual free skate, I think, is the one where he did not get the gold, which I think that's where they were expecting them to. I think sometimes, Pags, when you put that much weight on yourself, especially at 21 years old, it's hard. It's hard. So
well, you know what?
Do it next year.
It's not only that though, because sometimes when you have something like, especially if you mess up early, like that gets in your head, and then then it just continues to bring more problems.
So it's funny that you say that because before the fall, he did something that he wasn't happy with himself, and you could see the look on his face.
Yeah,
and it bothered him so much that when he went to do the thing, he fell.
Yeah.
And it was the first fall that really was the big deal. The second fall wasn't as big a deal because obviously he already fell once. So but like, it was like, and then it was like, hey, if I'm going to shit the bed, I'm going to really shit the bed. You know what I mean? Like, I might as well poop all over.
That's what I think it is. I think because he's 21 and he's so young and he's so inexperienced at that it got into his head. You're right, because he didn't have the maturity to look past it. And okay, let me get ready for this next, set of jumps or whatever.
And that's what I was doing when I was watching. I'm like, ooh! I watched his facial expression. It was his facial expression on a jump that he had landed, and it was okay. And like that, they're talking about how great he is still, but you could see the look on his face. He's like, he didn't like that. And then the next thing he did, he fell. And I'm like, yeah, you could see that was just a progressional thing. He got in his own head. And then listen, you're right. It's as hard. This is Olympics. You know what I mean? You are training for 4 years for this moment in time.
Yep.
And that's where, it can.
And I think that's where the heartache. I think that's where the heartache comes, because if it's a normal sport, you're like, okay, I didn't get it this year, but next year, I'm back in it. And this one, if you mess up, you got 4 years before you get another opportunity at it. And I think
you may not even get another opportunity at it.
You're right. You may not.
You may have trained your entire life for that 3 minutes and it just doesn't work. Like, it's possible. But I mean, even when you don't put that much pressure on it, you see it happen to quarterbacks all the time. They make that big mistake early, and then they just mentally don't overcome it. And then they have one of the worst games of their career because they think about that interception they threw in the first quarter and they just can't move past it. That's why they always say you got to have a really short memory, because you got to be able to get right back out there and do the thing. So if you are picking yourself apart on something you did successfully and you're still thinking about that jump, your next jump isn't going to go well, because you're not even preparing for it correctly.
Because you're not focused on it.
Exactly. Right. You're focused on the one that already happened.
And it seems to me something that is so technical and so precise as being on a pair of skates, if your focus isn't there, I don't know how you would do it, because that seems like a sport where you have to be hyper focused. Well, yeah, but I mean, it seems like that. I would say that's a sport where you have to be hyper focused, and I just don't know if you can overcome when your brain isn't fully there.
Yeah, and of course not.
Unfortunately, that's what happened with this kid, and I'm glad to hear that he did win a gold in something else. Obviously, it's not, like you said, he was looked at as like the golden child of this sport. Yeah. So, and I think that's what he said. Even he's like, they put me up on this pedestal and I let it get to me. You know what I mean? So,
they call him the quad god. That's his nickname, the quad god, right? I mean, when you start putting God at the end of something, that's crazy to me. That's crazy. But I think as good as this kid is, if he's really just that good, I got to imagine when he's 25 or 24, whatever his next time is, I would imagine he'll be back in it again. I don't think he would just be a one and done if he's really that good, like everybody says. You know what I mean?
Hey, listen, there was when you think about it, it's like that was the reason why when you go back in the day and you remember the wide world of sports,
Yeah.
the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat.
Exactly.
You know, and
They
you'd
don't make
watch
it
that
like that.
skier tumble down the mountain. You know what I mean? It's just like I will never forget that. Like that's ingrained in my head because I remember I grew up every Saturday morning or Sunday morning with the wide world of sports.
I'm telling you,
like that's
Pags, they don't make stuff like they did back in our day. The way the media did things, the way the
ESPN
athletes.
killed that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I give you
But that was on ABC. Like they used to like that. That's how I got turned on to arm wrestling initially because they used to show arm wrestling competitions in the wide world of sports. Like that's what it was meant for. Wide world of sports was for like boxing, arm wrestling, sports that didn't get the play like the professional sports did.
Yeah, in fact, it even that programming made it so that people wanted to watch a movie like Over the Top.
Right. But and the thing is, they don't even there's not even broadcasters out there anymore like the Cosell's and the what do you call it? The guy the Maddens of the world. You don't have those kinds of entertainment in the broadcasting booth like that. I mean, everything is so changed now. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, I disagree with that. I think Al Michaels is still a personality. I think that they've changed. Yeah. Like whether you like him or hate him, Buck is a personality. He's got his stuff. I mean, I was always
like Buck. Buck is annoying if you are a football fan, but if you listen about baseball, talk about an insane wealth of knowledge, right?
Yes.
Like when he's talking about baseball, it's like, oh, okay, like here we go. But when you hear him talking about football, you're just like, okay, dude, shut up. That's like Kellerman when he's talking about boxing. I mean, incredible knowledge about boxing.
Yeah.
When the moment they tried to have him talk about anything else, it was like, shut up.
Oh yeah.
You are a guy who knows about boxing, obviously. You don't know about football. You don't know, like you sound like an idiot. Stop talking.
Yeah, Chris Collinsworth. I hate Chris Collinsworth. I do not like that guy.
It's funny. Like he doesn't bother me. You can turn his commentary into a fun drinking game because he's going to compare any situation to Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow.
100%.
In fact, did you see that? Did you see that video? Yes. Somebody said how many times is he going to say it? He did not say Patrick Mahomes once, and because of that, he probably bet on himself.
Right. And it's funny because people make that comment, and it's just like they completely forget that Madden would bring up Brett Favre in every possible way. Like he brought up Brett Favre all the time. So it wasn't that different.
Yeah. Right.
I always thought it was interesting, like when you hear the commentators that are always like what team they want to win just by their commentary. Me and my dad used to get so mad all the time. Like when they would call Oilers games, Astros or Rockets or whatever, if it wasn't our broadcast, like if it was a separatized set of broadcasters doing it, you could just see that they did not want any Texas team to ever do good.
Oh, that is Troy Aikman and the Seahawks.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
He absolutely hates the Seahawks. And it is funny because even when the Seahawks have like a dominant season, he's like, they're going to get exposed. Like, I mean, it's hilarious. Even the year 2013, right? They destroy the Broncos. So he spent the entire time leading up to that game talking as much shit about the Seahawks as humanly possible. And so it was hilarious. So yeah, Troy Aikman is a great example of that. He has a thing with the Seahawks and always has.
No, I thought it was funny. I was watching this interview that they did with Bo Jackson. I think it was on Facebook. I saw the interview. It was a long, long time ago, but apparently Bo had gotten his head like a concussion or something.
Oh yeah.
And he wandered. Did you see that where he wandered over the sideline, sat down to the bench, and some dude grabbed him and says, "Hey, you're on the wrong side, mother."
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw that. I was like, "Oh my god, that is hilarious."
Yeah, that's a soundbite we're gonna have on here actually. So not for today, but it is one we're gonna talk about.
Man, I saw that. I was laughing so hard.
I was saving that for when we get into this weird little spot here in a couple of weeks where there's not a whole lot going on.
Well, they're good.
That was the interview with Gruden, right?
Yeah, that was a good interview. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, Bo Jackson is
he's such an
I
incredible
remember the
athlete.
commercials with like, be like Bo or just like Bo or whatever it was. It was Bo knows hockey. Bo knows basketball.
And then you get Bo Diddley. He says, Bo don't know diddly.
And then there were so many of them. It was pretty great. It was pretty great.
I'll tell you what, though, that was one hell of an athlete. Like I knew he did baseball. I knew he did football. I did not realize how good, though, he was at track. That blew my mind when I found out how good he was at track.
Of course, he was good at track.
But I never followed track, though. I didn't follow track like that, so I didn't really pay attention.
Like most football players ran track.
Yeah.
Well, most of the skill guys, anyway. Right.
But you don't see too many athletes, though, that can be excellent at all three. Usually they're excellent at one and then maybe okay in the other. But that guy was like literally excellent in all three sports. I mean, that's just a hell of a human.
He ran a 10-3-4 100-meter.
Yeah.
And like at 236 pounds.
Exactly.
That's insane.
Like there's guys that were half his weight that couldn't run 10, couldn't run that. It was like amazing. Like he was just a freak athlete. He was a freak athlete.
Yeah, that and the hip injury was such a weird one too, because I mean it didn't look that bad, but it was just the way that it happened that really ended his career overall.
Yeah.
In the last couple of minutes before we get out of here, the Daytona 500 did run this weekend, and Michael Jordan gets to add a trophy to his case as a team owner. And if you watched the race, that final lap was absolute chaos. There was 3 different wrecks on the one lap. And they didn't throw the caution. They were letting it finish under green. And, there was a big wreck at the beginning, a small one in the middle, and then coming around the last little bit of the corner, another big one. I mean, there was I think there was maybe 12 cars that weren't tore up on that.
One of them was Michael Jordan's.
Yes.
And did anybody see him?
He had 4 in the race.
Did anybody see him like after they won with that little kid?
No,
I didn't see that.
No.
There was a very weird moment that they showed where he's like pinching the butt of this little kid. And that's like, what are you doing?
What?
Like, what's it's you can find it. You can find it. It's like you know what? KFC Barstool talks about it. It was like he's like, what are you doing, dude? Like, what's like the camera is on you. This is weird. That whole situation is weird. I mean, I understand that you probably know this kid really well, and he calls you Uncle Mike. But even then, that's weird. It was just weird.
It's weird.
Congratulations on him winning it, but don't be a weirdo.
Yeah, that's strange. Yeah, I didn't see or hear about that. I went right from the race to switching over to All-Star Weekend. So,
it talks about this. Michael Jordan is facing some serious backlash. As Sean Williams, you're comparing pinching a little boy's butt to an NBA. Yeah, there's a lot of people talking about how weird that was.
Yeah, no,
that's crazy.
Weird. That is weird.
Even on Instagram, video of MJ touching this kid's butt repeatedly.
Yeah, it was like a weird moment. So it's like
that is weird. Yeah. But what's not weird is we're at the top of the hour and we're going to get out of here. We'll see you tomorrow. Be sure to like and subscribe. Helps us bring our stuff to you. Otherwise, catch y'all next time.
Peace.
But don't pinch the butt.